Today, as I sit in my raised garden, I was thinking in the morning, I need to get a few more of spices just to actually lighten up the place and make it more exotic. Now, I suddenly remembered my mother, because basically is that she taught us about the ginger plant. The ginger plant is what we in East Africa and a lot of Africa or in Asia, like curries or traditional Kenyan food, is we always have to add garlic and ginger, and that's the basis. So today I'd like to talk about the ginger plant because I plan to plant them in my garden. So I want you to join me and we can look at the ginger plant, this beautiful plant, and then talk about it, and you too may want to plant it. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Alice and I'm the Red Soil Gardener. Now, the thing is that what ginger likes is a well-drained soil. Now, if you go back to our episode on the raised garden, you will remember all the sort of what we used in the raised beds was really good organic compost. We put some hay in there, we used some mulch and all this beautiful organic medium. So with the result, everything is just flourishing. So I believe that once we do plant our ginger here with the well-drained soil, it will do well. The thing about the ginger root, it starts from the rhizome, and what you do is that's your ginger plant, and as you go along, all this is the rhizome. And what happens is when you do want to plant it, you may have to cut your ginger plant, cut it about 2 inches in sections, and make sure you have an eye. The other thing about rhizomes is that they move along this way, and that's the way it will develop. So once you do get your sprouts, they will jut out upwards like this, and you'll be left with this is your rhizome. Now what I'm going to do with this particular plant, because this stem is slightly this way, I'm actually, like what we said, is I'm going to cut about 2 inches off it, and we'll plant these ones. The only reason is when I'm planting is that when you do have the eyes, always try to point them upwards, because you don't want it to be planted this way. So this is already up, and I have again a little sprout that's coming on the side, and we want them to shoot upwards from the soil. So that is one. So these would be my little babies, and I'm just going to remove some of these roots. There, we have 2 of them. Now I do have other rhizomes and again my ginger plants, and I can see again, as we said, it does grow horizontally. So I could actually just cut this in half again here, so we can plant that like that. So that's another one. And again, this one is okay. And I'll just plant it like that. After you get your ginger roots, the rhizome ready, is do leave it out to actually callus. But in this situation, I haven't done it because we really don't have time. But on the other hand is that do leave it at least for 48 hours. Once it calluses, it actually prevents the opened wound from actually getting any diseases or fungus or whatever. So it is a good principle to always callus, like cacti. If you were living in the north, for example, in a cooler temperature, I would actually grow your ginger in pots. And as you notice, because of these rhizomes moving horizontally, is you don't have to get a very deep pot, because basically everything actually moves on the surface. So it's more the width of the area, like the width of the bed, that is more important than the depth, because these will just move along. So that is one thing to note. Another thing to note is basically ginger in cooler climates, let's say in cold climates, where you do get frost and freezing temperatures, it's always better to actually grow them in containers. So as the winter does approach, your overwinter storage is you take your ginger, move it inside the house in the basement or in a garage, but not where it will freeze or you get freezing temperature. And then the ginger plant will go dormant, and in spring it'll jump back again. It takes you about 8 months to actually get and start harvesting your ginger. Now in warmer climates like we have in Kenya, is that once it does take root and the rhizomes does start spreading, your ginger plant does start spreading, is what happens is that you can actually just go and take what you want from your vegetable patch and leave the rest sitting in the soil. However, in a more cooler, let's say colder climate, is you can't do that, because with rhizomes, they're very delicate because they do have a lot of water storage in them, as we know, is they will just freeze up and get damaged. So you have two methods that if you wanted to grow your ginger, as in my case, I've just been actually propagating this in a bucket and a bit of soil, and so they have grown. Another method is you could actually take the root and soak it until you get rooting, and once you do get rooting, you put it in your container or your veg patch. But either way, it really depends on you. But if I were in a situation, for example, let's talk about harvesting, it'll take 8 months. So from spring to almost late summer, our ginger plant is sort of growing, and then towards the end of summer is when the harvest starts, and you'll find that most of these stems will go yellow and then eventually die off, because also the temperature change, and this is the time you go in. So if you go in, please do harvest your ginger before the first frost. Otherwise, what will happen is that if you haven't harvested it, is once again the frost will come in and damage your ginger, and all those 8 months would have gone to waste. So I'm going to put on my gloves, and then we're just going to plant this. And what we're going to do is basically we'll go about 2 to 4 inches under in the soil, and then plant them about 8 inches apart, and then we just wait for our ginger. So let me get started. Okay, so this is where we're doing it. Rasta, get down. So we're going to plant them here. So I'm going to make a hole here. That's one. And I'm going to make another one here. Then I'm going to make another one here. There. And I'm going to make another one here. So let's start with those. So I'm going to put this one. I'm going to put this one here. There we go. The next one there. So fellow gardeners, here we are with my ginger plants already planted. Don't forget to like, to share, notification button, just press it. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget we're on Instagram, DM me. And do write your comments. I'm always there to answer you. And thank you so much for following this channel. We'll let you know on the update with the ginger plant. So thank you very much and have a lovely day.